Hey everybody, welcome back to Car Ski Go. Today we're going to be doing a catch can. So I had an interesting issue a couple weeks ago where I pulled my car out of the garage and there was an oil spot on the ground. And so I got underneath the car and I was looking for an oil leak and all the kind of normal places, drain bolt, oil filter housing, stuff like that. All that stuff was dry and it was really odd, the location that the oil drip was coming from. So as I was feeling around, I felt the source of the oil drip was from the intake pipe between the air filter box and the throttle body. And I thought that was an odd place for oil to be leaking, so I disassembled everything and there was indeed a small pool of oil in the elbow of the air intake system, right where there is a split for the tube between the MAF and the air box. So I took the rest of the intake apart and it was pretty much an oily mess. There wasn't like pools of oil, but there was a coating of it. So on these cars, there is a AOS, or an air to oil separator. In the first gen of the Cayman, it didn't work that great. There were issues with it. The second gen was supposed to be an improvement. I don't know if this is just a flaw in the design of the system or if my AOS was old. So I cleaned everything up, got a new AOS for about $100, put it in there. Still, after a couple weeks, with feeling the oily residue when I pulled some of the PCV pipes. So I decided that I'm going to do a catch can to try to remedy this. Being that the 987.2 is a direct injection engine, it is susceptible to carbon buildup on the valves. I did check my valves. There is some carbon buildup. It's not a ton, especially since the car has got 112,000 miles on it, but it's enough that I would like to clean it out. But if I'm going to clean it out, I would like to prevent it from happening in the first place, and the way to do that is prevent contaminants like oil and gas vapor and everything else from hitting those valves in the first place. So that's a catch can. There's some interesting challenges with trying to fit a catch can into the Cayman Engine Bay, so let me take you over there now and show you. All right, cool. If you've seen some of my other videos, this is probably a familiar sight. So the AOS that I was talking about is actually right here. It plugs into the engine block. There's a diaphragm in this circular thing. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it comes out through here, follows this pipe through here, and then splits into two parts that go into the intake manifold. So this is the throttle body here, and this is into the plenum, duct into the plenum here. So this is not a stock pipe. While I was cleaning everything up, I actually snapped the pipe. It's just this like thin corrugated plastic that over all the heat cycles of all the years got brittle. I bent it a little too far and it broke. This pipe is like $100-something from Porsche and it takes a while to get, so I just got some PCV hose and put it in place. So some of the issue with trying to put a catch can in here is space. There's plenty of space on this side of the engine bay, but this is a 3/4 inch hose and I don't really want to try to run this like in a big loop around and then a big loop back here. So I've decided that the catch can is going to live right in this area right here. I'm going to have this 3/4 inch hose come to the inlet of the catch can, and then the outlet of the catch can will come right to this port right here. I'm going to block off this second port. On the IPD plenums, the plenum comes with one of these ports already blocked off, and it only uses one out of the two hoses. So I think it'll be okay. I've gone through and I've kind of measured the diameters of the whole system for like the inside of these flanges here, the inside of the tube, all the way back to the AOS. And the AOS does have the smallest restriction in it. So we've got all of this large piping, but it all kind of necks down inside the AOS. So what I've decided is that I think one of these pipes will be enough. We'll see what happens. I can always take the catch can out if it becomes an issue. But yeah, so one pipe from 1 3/4 inch hose from this inlet to the catch can, this 3/4 inch hose from the AOS to the catch can, and it'll try to live right here. I'm going to use a remote drain for the catch can so I don't have to take off this engine cover every 1,000 miles to drain it. And so yeah, that's it. Now we'll go head back over to the bench and I'll show you the goods that we're about to install. All right, here's the parts that we're going to be working with today. I went with a Radium catch can mostly because of these intake port sizes, or I'm sorry, just these general port sizes. A lot of the catch cans you can find on eBay or Amazon come with like 3/8 inch ports or maybe 1/2 inch at the most. These ports right here will take fittings that go up to a 3/4 inch barb for a hose, which is the size hose, I'm using. So that just happened to be convenient. Plus, Radium's a pretty good company. I've seen a lot of their write-ups online, and I wanted to give it a shot. So with that kit comes the catch can itself, this mount, which I will not be using, screws for the mount, and that's it. You have to buy the fittings, which I have bought a -10 AN to 3/4 inch hose barb. I've also purchased a -10 AN, I'm sorry, these are -10 AN ORBs, which is O-ring Boss. There are O-rings on these. And this is a -10 AN ORB to a -10 male. So that's all the Radium stuff. Additional items that are necessary is going to be this coupler, which is going to couple the Banjo -10 AN ORB to AN male to a hose barb fitting, and then some rubber caps to try to block off that other port. Unfortunately, these are meant for heater bypass, so they're rated for coolant. They are not rated for gas and oil. I could not find any kind of cap that was rated for gas and oil, so I'm going to use them, and I'll keep an eye on it for cracking while I try to figure out some other issue. So, as I said previously, not using this bracket. So I think the hardest task today is going to be getting a bracket that mounts up to this thing. Oh, and I also forgot this. I mentioned the remote mount drain earlier. So another kit that I bought from Radium was the petcock. You get a little nipple on the bottom here, and then they give you a good length of hose to remote mount a petcock drain. So that way I do not have to take the can out every single time I want to drain it. So with that, I'm going to head over and start to try to make a bracket for this beast. All right, well, this is my bracket as it stands right now. If it wasn't readily apparent, I need to get better metalworking tools. I'm not happy with this. I mean, I think it'll be functional, but, you know, I did punch through one of the mounting holes with the angle grinder. The other three seem to be close enough that it'll hold the catch can. I'm not worried about it. So next part is going to be to put some bends into here and then drill the holes for mounting to the inner part of the car. Probably try to clean this bracket up a little bit more as well. All right, all that work and the bracket is done. It is very rough, I will say. Luckily, most of it's not visible. It's not like the engine on this car is rarely accessible by popping the hood, so it'll be hidden most of the time. I'm going to scuff it up, hit it with some black paint, and next time you see me, we will be installing this in the car. All right, well, here's the final bracket. Turned out gray, not black, didn't have any black paint. It's not pretty. It will work for this iteration. I might try to 3D print a bracket at some point, or maybe if this design works out, I'll get something laser cut, make it look good. But for now, kind of just proof of concept, make sure this actually works. So I'm gonna get this put on, some of the fittings put on, and the rubber hose, and then we'll go over to the car and finish installing it. Okay, so let me show you how this bracket is designed to work. So it's mounted on the can like that. This hole here mounts to the underside of this existing mount point for the engine cover. So this hole slides around the nut insert that's at the bottom. These two holes will match up with one hole here and a second hole that I still will have yet to drill. And then it will be riveted in place. The reason I'm using rivets is that they are very low profile and the engine cover does sit right very low right here, so I wanted something that was out of the way. I probably could get some flathead hardware, I just didn't have anything on me and I want to get this done today, so going with rivets for now. They're just aluminum, they can be drilled out, it's not really that big of a deal. This is the drain hose. It'll be snaked down to the bottom of the car and zip tied out of the way someplace with the stopcock or the petcock. As we discussed earlier, I'm going to have to remove these hoses here, put a cap on here, cut a new hose to fit the fittings on here, and should be good to go. So let's get started. All right, well, the install is mostly complete. I have the cap on the secondary PVCV port on the intake. I've got the hose running from the other nipple over to the catch can, the AN fittings from the can back to the AOS. AOS is set. Everything looks good. It's a bit of a tight fit, but we should be good. I'm not going to need any hose clamps on these guys because they were a pain in the butt to get on. They are definitely seated. They're not going anywhere. Last thing I got to do is just get into the car and put that stop cock or petcock someplace, and we should be good to go. Okay, got the last piece installed, which is the remote drain. Just to give you an idea of where it's going to live, it is in the back here, right in this jacking point here. So I'll just tuck it up into the body cavity when I'm not using it. All right, let's see how she does. All right, seems like everything's working. As you can see, when I pulled the dipstick out, the car really wanted to run not very well. So the car is gonna let me know if it's got a vacuum leak, I'm sure of it. So everything seems to be going well right now. Can't really take it out because, you know, ice and snow and everything else. But for the meantime, I think this is a wrap. So once again, thank you all very much for watching, and catch you next time. Thanks.